2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. All the man is out on the field. It's another knockdown. You know, Jim. You believe in miracles? Yes.
The All Things Sport Podcast with your hosts, Damian Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio.
What's happening? What's up? What's going on? It's the All Things Sport Podcast, and I am your host, Damian Banks, broadcasting to you live from beautiful Banks Boys Studios right here in Durham, North Carolina. It's the All Things Sport Podcast, where I give you, the listener, just that, all things sport. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome back to the show. I'm so glad you're joining me for this episode of the All Things Sport Podcast. Before we do anything, you know I have to go to my plug. Follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter at Sports by Damian. That's SportsByDaimeon. Or go to the website banksboy.com. You can download this podcast, download previous podcasts. We also have a YouTube channel on the website. Also, blogs are on the website. My partner in crime and my brother, Pierre Banks, is on the website. His Twitter and Instagram is _my_humble. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter. We're great follows. You follow us, we follow you back, and we thank you kindly. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, sports is life. I'm here to breathe that life into you. So much going on in the world of sports. This show is jam-packed. We got boxing, we have Stanley Cup final actions, and you know we have NBA final action. So, before I get into all that, man, just want to ask you guys, how y'all doing? Y'all having a good week so far? Had a good weekend previously? I had a great weekend, man. Spent a lot of time, actually spent the entire weekend with my wife and my 1-year-old daughter. And that's an adventure in and of itself. Listen, man, I love the kids. I'm like Marty Marl. Marty Marl love the kids. Sports love the kids. But being around kids this whole weekend, exhausting. I'm so tired. I just want to sleep. Listen, man, Saturday all day, shopping with the family. We went to eat. We went shopping here, went shopping there, went shopping here, went shopping there. Yeah. Sunday, my niece, through marriage, my wife's niece, turning 4-year-old this week, had a birthday party on Sunday. So, yeah, man, all weekend, kids. I'm so tired, but I'm here. I'm rejuvenated, I'm revigorated, I'm reassimilated. I'm like Carlito Brigante. I'm here to do this podcast. I'm here to give you podcast brilliance. So much going on in the world of sports. Like I said before, boxing action, Stanley Cup Finals action, NBA Finals action. But before I get started, let me take a swig of my natural spring water. I'm on this Deer Park kick. And I got this Deer Park from Kroger. Now, the only reason why I'm on this Deer Park kick, because it was on sale. It was 2 for $5. Because Deer Park is usually 24-pack for $4.99. I can't kick out $5 for 24 packs of water. So I usually get the Kroger brand or the Harris Teeter brand or whatever store I'm at. Sometimes Crystal Geiger. I'm a big advocate of Big Lots. Shout out to Big Lots. Big Lots has 2 for $6 on their Crystal Geyser. So I usually get Crystal Geyser from Big Lots. And if I go to Kroger or Harris Teeter, I usually get those store brands because they're cheaper. But Deer Park has actually been on sale. And if you're a big hip hop fan like I am growing up, if you're a Mobb Deep fan like I am growing up, Prodigy said it best, man. My rhymes taste good in your mouth like Deer Park. So let me open up this bottle of Deer Park. Oh, yeah, you heard it crack open. Let me take a swig. Yeah, that's what it is. I took a big gulp, actually, because before I started the podcast, I was an idiot. Ate a handful of Utz salt and vinegar potato chips. So had to drink a little bit of that Deer Park spring water. Now that I've done that, let's get into these hot topics. Let's do it. All right, man. First hot topic. Like I said, I had an interesting weekend. A lot of time spent with the family, but I always fit that sports action in over the weekend. And in the summer months, I always seem to find boxing matches, and it's usually on Showtime or HBO. This particular boxing match was on Showtime. Watched the WBC Light Heavyweight Championship between Canada's Adonis Stevens and Andres Fonfara. It was a rematch from 2014. Adonis Stevens did beat Fonfara in 2014, but it was by decision. Fonfara gave Stevens quite a bit of trouble in that fight, from what I recall correctly. So when I turned on this fight, I'm like, hey man, it's a rematch. It should be a pretty good fight. Wrong, like Trump would say. Wrong. Adonis Stevens beat Fonfara's head in, man. Beat him up. TKO in the second round. Just kept landing that beautiful straight left on Fonfara. He didn't have an answer. Virgil Moore, the trainer for Fonfara, Virgil, he threw in the towel. So, yeah, man. Adonis Stevens retains his WC light heavyweight championship in, less than dramatic fashion. Second round TKO over Andres Fonfara. And also, man, I got a question. Is Floyd still going to fight Conor McGregor? I don't know what's going on with this situation. Dana White, UFC president, he's been advocating for this fight. Conor McGregor has been advocating for the fight. It should be a big money fight. Like I said before in previous podcasts, I'm not going to pay and see this fight. I'll go over someone's house and watch it. I'll go to the bar and watch it with no cover at that bar. But I'm not going to pay $80 or however much is going to be pay-per-view to watch the fight, because I think Floyd is going to beat Conor McGregor up. You can't beat one of the best fighters, if not the best fighter of all time, if you've never been a boxer. It's just not going to happen. I mean, now, it never rains in Southern California, but it does rain sometime. So I guess Conor McGregor does have a puncher's chance. He could land something crazy and knock Floyd out, but I don't see that happening. Floyd's not going to suffer his first defeat to a MMA fighter. So, Dana White's still advocating for that fight. Not sure if it's going to happen yet, but interestingly enough, Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya, who is the president CEO of Golden Boy Promotions, who oftentimes collaborates with Floyd for boxing promotion events, and Dana White and Oscar, they're having a war of words right now. Dana is saying Oscar's two-faced because he's saying that, no one wants to see that McGregor and Floyd fight is going to be boring. It's not going to be good because Floyd is just going to give a boxing lesson to Conor McGregor. But Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya are kind of beefing right now. I mean, maybe they should fight. If Floyd and Conor McGregor aren't going to fight, maybe Dana White wants to step into the ring and fight Oscar De La Hoya. Now, I know Oscar De La Hoya is out of shape, and he hasn't fought in several years, but my money's on Oscar because, Oscar De La Hoya. Many people don't know this. Oscar De La Hoya, you can ask my brother Pierre. My favorite fighter growing up, I love Roy Jones. My favorite fighter was two fighters were Roy Jones Jr. and Oscar De La Hoya. Man, I used to love Oscar De La Hoya, but I'm putting my money on Oscar De La Hoya to beat up Dana White if they want to get into the ring. That should be on the undercard. If that Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Conor McGregor fight happens, Oscar De La Hoya and Conor McGregor fight, the undercard is going to be actually Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight. I'm getting mixed up. The undercard is going to be Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya. I'm saying it. I'm calling it right now. I'm calling my shot. Dana, call Oscar. Tell him you want to be on the undercard of the Floyd and McGregor fight, and it's going to happen. But I digress. Moving on, man. More hot topics. Stanley Cup Finals. The series is tied up at 2 games apiece after tonight's game. Pittsburgh won the first 2 games in that final. The Pittsburgh Penguins are taking on the Nashville Predators. Nashville is playing their first Stanley Cup Final. The Penguins took games 1 and 2 in Pittsburgh. 6-3 game 1 and 5-3 game 2. Game 3 shifted to to Nashville. They call it Smashville. I think that's pretty cool. So game 3 shifted to Nashville, Tennessee. The Predators took care of business at home in game 3, winning that game 5-1. And tonight they took care of business as well. They won that game 4-1. So the series, the Stanley Cup Finals, is tied at 2 games apiece. Sid the Kid and the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on PK Subban and the Nashville Predators. I'm a big fan of PK Subban, man. He's a brother, a black man playing hockey at the highest level. You gotta love it. He's also a Canadian. Canada's taking over, man. Justin Trudeau, kudos to you, brother. Canada's taking over. I know. Me as an American, I don't like that, man, because Drake is from Canada. Everybody loves Drake. The millennials, they love Drake. He's the best rapper ever in their eyes. Drake's from Canada. Everybody who's good in hockey, not everybody, but most players are good from hockey. They're from Canada. All the hot actresses are from Canada. All the good, I don't know, man. Canada's taking over. But I digress. The Stanley Cup Finals, 2 games apiece. Pittsburgh Penguins and the Nashville Predators. Game 5 on Wednesday on NBC, one of those NBC channels, maybe on the big NBC. No one really knows what channel the Stanley Cup Finals is on, and it's a shame because playoff hockey is friggin' awesome. But I digress. Last hot topic, short and sweet. Colin Kaepernick has still not signed with an NFL team. As you all know, Colin Kaepernick, former quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, caused quite a bit of stir last year by kneeling during the national anthem during the pregame for the 49ers. He was, pretty much ridiculed the whole season. Love him or hate him, I love what you're doing, Cap. Keep doing what you're doing. This is America. You have the right to protest. You have the right of freedom of speech, whether people like it or not. But I digress. Colin Kaepernick is still unsigned. A lot of trash and garbage quarterbacks have jobs, but Colin Kaepernick does not. Kaepernick actually went in last week for a workout with the Seattle Seahawks. Head coach Pete Carroll went in another direction and signed Austin Davis, formerly of the Denver Broncos. Austin Davis is baby doo-doo, but hey, to each his own. Cap, I'm rooting for you, brother. I hope you get a job. If not, keep doing the things that you're doing, speaking up and doing things in the community that no one is doing. You're putting your money where your mouth is. You're donating to these charities, donating to these causes. You're an activist. You're doing things in the community that need to be done. Colin Kaepernick, I salute you. But with that being said, like I said before, the show is jam-packed. I just gave you boxing, just gave you Stanley Cup Finals, talked a little bit about Cap. You know I got to talk about the NBA Finals, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. Right now, Cleveland, it ain't looking too good for you, man. But let me take this commercial break. We'll be back to talk about the NBA Finals. You're listening to the All Things Sport podcast on Spreaker Radio.
What up, this is Pierre Banks, and when I'm back in Boone watching the Mountaineers, my first stop is always Mountaineer Mania. The good folks at Mountaineer Mania have the widest selection of app gear, so you can cheer on the Mountaineers in style. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, decals, cornhole sets. I mean, if you need it, they've got it. So head on down to Mountaineer Mania at 497 West King Street in Boone, and tell them I sent you.
The All Things Sport Podcast
We go back like spinal cords and car seats.
with Damian Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio.
What's happening? Welcome back to the All Things Sport Podcast. You're rocking with me. You're rocking with the best, but I digress. I'm your host, Damian Banks. Follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter at Sports by Damian. That's SportsByDaimeon. Or simply go to the website, log on now. Banksboy.com. You can download this podcast, download previous podcasts. We have a YouTube channel on the website. We have blogs on the website. Very interactive, very easy to use, and most importantly, it's for the low. $0 is free. Why would you not do that? It's free. I mean, you can't get better than free, right? It's like if you go to a restaurant and you lie and tell them that it's your birthday. They'll give you a free piece of cake, right? What's better than free? That's just like if you go to, I don't know, Nordstrom's and you 5-finger discount something that's free, right? Actually, that's stealing. Don't Don't do that. I don't advocate stealing. But the website, banksboy.com, you can get anything on the website you want for free. Download that. It's actually no cost. It's a gift from us to you. But I digress. We talked about hot